word to those that will come tonight. We bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. May your whole life prove that God is love. Bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. May your whole life prove that God is love. Bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. May your whole life prove God is love. Bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Welcome, welcome everyone that is coming on tonight. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful Easter. Welcome, welcome. We'll just give everyone a few more minutes to log on, and then we can begin our conversation tonight. I'm so excited and grateful that every Monday you guys are faithful in coming on so that we can talk about some serious and important things that sometimes we just are not having those conversations that we need to have. And those are very helpful for us. Some of us are able to go sit with a therapist and have these conversations. Some of us are afraid to go see a therapist. Hi, Leonard. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And so some of us are able to go and just have these conversations. We have friends and family members or mentors or coaches that we can sit and have these conversations with. Others, unfortunately, do not. I know growing up, I didn't have many people that I can sit down and just really have a conversation with them about the struggles and the difficulties and the challenges in life. And so that's why part of why, God has given me this mandate to be up here every Monday night and to come and to share my heart, share my resources, my education, to encourage someone that's listening, whether they're listening live or they're going to hear in the replay. Some encouraging word. Tonight, our subject is the 5 love languages. And so many of you guys may be familiar with love languages. Some of you guys may not be. Welcome, Andy. Some of you guys may not be familiar with love languages, but it's such an important subject as we discuss this thing called love. Love is such a beautiful and beautiful, beautiful, pure thing that God has given us. Yet, love is often in the hands of broken and hurting people. And so, because love is often in the hands of hurting and broken people, there are some things that happen to us in love relationships, whether they are friend relationships, family relationships, or romantic relationships, that hurts us deeply because it doesn't make sense of what we understand love is supposed to be. And so tonight I wanted to go ahead. Hi, Ludmire. Welcome, welcome. So tonight I wanted to go into the subject of love languages. And so we had a while back, I think when I originally started doing the lives back in October of last year, we started off with this subject theme, love and love right. And so within that theme, we had talked about love, the agape love, eros love. So all the 4 parts of love, we talked about them and defined them. And trying to understand what love is. And what we discovered in our time together was, a lot of people look at love as a feeling, but love is a commitment. So let me say that again. Love is beyond a feeling. Love is not about a feeling at all. And that's where we get it wrong. Because when we think about love, we're thinking automatically all of the things that we supposed to feel. We're supposed to feel good, feel this emotional high. And while that is a byproduct of love, can be a byproduct of love, that those emotions, those highs, those butterflies in our feelings, those things are not love. They are not love. Inherent in love is two very important things. In order for love to exist, the very first thing that must be present is choice. Love must have choice, free will, choice, you know, and love must be a commitment. So those are the two parts of love, the two important things that are so essential to love for love to genuinely exist. Love cannot exist outside of choice, free will, the individual's free will to choose, and it cannot exist without a commitment. And so when we understand that, if we think about God in terms of us as human beings having free choice, we believe in that, especially in America. We believe in free choice. We believe in our right to do what we feel like doing. And that is important to us in America. And it is important to the rest of the world because you see people are going through incredible odds, spending money they don't even have just to cross over the border, just to cross into the United States, putting their lives at risk, putting their children's life at risk. You know, I saw a couple weeks ago as we were reading, when I'm reading the news about the things that are going on with at the border and the unaccompanied children at the border. There was like some 11,000 children last month at the border, and that the number continues to increase, and it was just insane. Unaccompanied minors, so that means those are children whose parents stayed behind. Perhaps the parent only had enough money just to get the child out of there. The incredible sacrifice that a mother will leave their child or send their child off someplace, hoping that, believing that they're going to be in a better place, that where their child is going, they're going to have opportunities that that parent could never give them. And so they're willing, for the sake of their child's well-being, what they perceive to be for their child's well-being, will release their child at a border. And it's just absolutely crazy. But it is an act of love. And so, again, for love to exist, welcome for all of you guys who are watching. Thank you guys for taking time to come and just sit with me tonight. Tonight, our subject is about the 5 love languages. So, understanding the languages of love and understanding love itself. And so, we talked so far that in order for love to exist, there has to be 2 foundational principles. 2 foundational principles, or 2 main ingredients that must be present in order for love to exist. And the first one is free choice, free will. So God gave us free will. We have the right to choose God or not choose God. It is entirely up to us. We can choose the action, not the consequence, but it is entirely up to us to choose. And so God would never take away anybody's right, to choose what they want for themselves. He's given us that. And so whether the choice that we made is an unhealthy choice, that's going to hurt us, that's going to cause shipwreck in our lives, God can't undo that for us. We choose it. He won't stop the choice. He may like, hey, stop, don't go that direction. That's not a good thing for you. Turn around, detour, reroute, not detour, but reroute, and we can choose to listen or not choose to listen. Just like that GPS, once you put a final address on it, a destination address is gonna continue to reroute you for every turn that you make. It's not gonna catch an attitude and be like, listen, I'm tired of you. You're not listening. Do you boo boo? Okay. So it's gonna always reroute you to where you need to be. That is God. He will always try to reroute us to where we should be. So get back on the track that we should be. But again, it is up to choices. So the second thing that needs to happen, that must exist, in order for love to exist, the second ingredient or the second principle is commitment. So when you think about love, love is not about the feelings we experience. It's not about the butterflies in the stomach. It's not about, oh my God, he makes me feel so wonderful. She makes me feel so good, or none of those feelings and the emotions. All of those feelings and emotions, they are a byproduct of love, but they are not love. Love is about choice and commitment. Really, commitment. So when I say I love you, what I should be saying, what I should understand that I'm saying is that I'm making a commitment to you. And in that commitment, I understand that there's going to be moments that I'm not going to be happy with you. There are going to be moments that you're going to drive me crazy, get under my nerves, frustrate me. There are going to be moments that I'm going to even question myself, like, why am I here? This is ridiculous, Um, and so there are moments that I'm going to want to leave. There are moments that I probably will leave, until I just go clear my head somewhere. So there's all of these things that happens when we think about, when you're thinking about love in the relationship of love. But when it's genuine love that is built not just on the feeling, but built on a commitment, then it's much different to make that kind of commitment. Because if we're going into a business venture, and this business venture, you were telling me, oh, we're going to build houses. Let's say we're going to be building houses together or something like that. Okay, sounds great. What is my buy-in? How much money do I need to put into this thing? And so if you tell me I need to put in $1 million to buy into this company, I got to look back now. Wait a minute. Do I have $1 million? Where am I going to get $1 million? And if I have $1 million, do I trust the process with you to put my $1 million in? So you begin to ask all these questions, critical questions, because you're like, wait a minute, I need to know, let me see your credit. Let me see what businesses have you done before? Who else is going to be in this partnership? What companies are you so you begin to, you go into this interrogation of asking 1,000 million questions, because you want to be sure that the person that you're going into business with, that to the best of your ability, you have processed this information, you called and asked about this person, you've done all of these different things, because that's your responsibility for you to say, yes, I'm going into this business with you. So the same thing with love in relationships. We don't want to let the emotions and the feelings carry us away, that we don't take the time to begin to ask some of these questions, to begin to find out about the character of the person. So there's this quote on my wall right here that I've seen somewhere, because, for those of you guys who know me, I collect quotes. And on the website, sandragarsondejaville.com, there is a page, quotes and things, dedicated just to quotes, because I just love quotes. Simple things just give such incredible wisdom and insight. Well, anyways, the quote that's on my wall says, marry character, not charm. So there are people that are so charming, they can just float you away. And sometimes it's manipulation. But if I'm going to marry character, that's a whole nother concept and whole nother ideal. I'm asking a whole different set of questions. I'm looking for a whole different type of evidence that confirms the character of the individual. So it's just not about feelings. Yeah, he's cute. He makes me smile. Okay, now let me know. I need to know about this man. Tell me, show me your credit. How do you manage money? What is your thoughts around children? Thoughts around discipline. What is your feelings on faith? Your ideologies, your belief system. What's your core? You begin to ask all of these questions because you are looking for character, not charm. With love also, because it is a commitment. And the commitment you're making is not simply to the person only, but the commitment is also really in you. That you have presented something to me that makes me feel, once I've thought about it, processed it, prayed about it, fasted about it, spoken to people in my life that whose advice that I trust, whose authority that I trust, and I've decided, yes, that is a direction that I'm going, then I'm making a commitment to Sandra that I'm going to invest in you, really in us, because whatever I'm investing in you, there's an expectation I'm reaping something from it. So I'm just not going to give into you for the sake of giving into you. There is an expectation by giving into you, by building you up. I'm also building me up and building my capacity through you. So I'm making a commitment to that. I'm making a commitment that there is more in you than perhaps I can physically see right now. Based on what you've told me about you, I can see, wow, wait a minute, there's so much more to this person. Maybe this person just need a little bit of support in this area and they can be developed in such an incredible way. And I'm willing to invest in that. So that commitment talks about my investment in a product or a person, when we're talking about love, that I believe, based on the evidence that I have, that person is worth the commitment. And so at the first sign of trouble, I'm not ready to pack up my bags because I made a commitment. The same way when you've researched a business and you decided to get into business with someone and you've done your research, you've done all the things that you were supposed to do. And I got to admit, I've not always in my life done all of my research, and I paid the cost for it. However, I don't have to keep paying a price. Once you learn, you learn. Hey, I don't need 12 lessons. There's some things you don't need 12 lessons in. The one is good, is good enough. And so because I'm making an investment in that person, I'm making a commitment in that person. I'm making a commitment to me through developing that person, through walking with that person. I'm not ready to run at the first sign of trouble. I expect there's going to be trouble. I expect there's going to be some issues. And before I make that commitment, I really ought to sit down with myself and say, okay, what can happen that will cause me to walk away? And being very clear about that. And that's so important for us to identify what will cause me to walk away. If I don't know up front what is going to cause me to walk away, what is a thing that I cannot stomach? What if happened breaks everything for me? Once I know that, then I'm not so frustrated over other things that I could manage. But you have to know that for yourself. So being able to sit down with yourself and ask these questions are a sign of your own maturity. If you are getting into a relationship or a business or whatever it is you're getting into, and you will not sit down with yourself and ask yourself those questions, then you are, hi, lovely, how are you? Welcome. And you're not asking yourself these questions, then I don't think you should get into it because it weakens your commitment. Once I know what I will not stand for, it gives me a parameter to work with. And so until this person has hit that place, then we're gonna work everything. We'll work it out, you know. So welcome again to those of you guys who are watching. Thank you for coming and spending some time with me tonight as we talk about an important subject. Tonight, our subject is the 5 love languages. So I've just been giving you guys a little intro into love. And as we've been talking, again, love is not about the emotion. We get lost and caught up in the emotions and we think that's what love is. But love, the emotions, the high and all the ooey gooey, those things are a byproduct of love. In order for love to exist, there must be choice. And when we understand that love requires a commitment, so it is about a commitment. I'm committing to this person. I'm committing to what I know about this person and what I know about myself. And I'm speaking with people that I trust to give me some guidance and some direction. And I'm making an investment. And we know sometimes an investment we can lose, unfortunately. Some people go into relationships with best intentions, willing to commit, willing to do the work, and the other person just doesn't. And so again, choice shows up. Once I've made a commitment to you and I'm doing all the parts that I should be doing, all the things that I should be doing, and you consistently not do your part. The other part of love, the other ingredients to love, which is choice, comes to me and says, okay, you have done all of what you should do. The other person is not and is not committed to doing none of the things that you're committed to do. You have a choice to walk away now. And this person can't try to make me feel guilty because they don't want to do their part. I mean, people will try to make you feel that way, but then that's up to, hey, I did my part. I was committed. You wasn't committed. So you're going to have to take responsibility of that. So now that we understand love requires choice and requires commitment, it is a commitment, not a feeling. Let's talk about the 5 love languages. Now that you're in love, how do you communicate in love? So as a therapist, I have worked with, I had been a licensed therapist for the last almost 11 years. And I've had opportunities to work with tons of couples, married couples, boyfriend and girlfriend couples, and just really sitting down with them. And one of the biggest issues that they encountered in their relationships that caused everything to kind of fall apart is that they did not know how to properly communicate to each other. Communication is so huge. So huge. And it's not just in love relationships, it's in every relationship. Every relationship that you're in where there's not clear communication, it cannot stand. Because there's too many things to cause misunderstandings. So communication is essential. And one of the things that I like to tell used to talk to my clients about, my couples about, and when discussing communication, it is is to understand the purpose of communication. The purpose of communication is to simply express whatever it is you're thinking, you're feeling. Period. It is about expression. It is about giving. I feel X, Y, Z, and I'm going to express in respectful manner, in a way that you're going to hear it. So if you're in a bad mood, maybe that's not the time I want to talk to you about how I feel, because you may not be interested in my feelings because you're in your own, you're in your own mood. So now it's important that we understand that communication is simply about giving information. So if I feel hurt about a particular thing someone did and I'm in a relationship with, the whole purpose is I'm going to tell them, hey, you know what? Ludmir, you did XYZ to me that made me feel some kind of way. That made me feel some kind of way. And I just want to let you know, this is what, I feel. Now, the error here, people make a lot. And I'm coming to your question, Margie. The error that we make is that we feel like we need the person to say, oh, wow, I was wrong for what I did to you. Or having the person take responsibility. Because we feel some kind of way doesn't mean the person now automatically has to take responsibility of our feelings. And so when we tell people how we feel, we are constantly looking for a response that supports us or makes us feel like, oh yeah, you heard me, because you responded in a way that says you agree with me. And that is not communication. Communication is simply about giving information. The person is entitled to do with the information what they choose to do with the information. This phone, if I take this phone and I give it to Margie, Margie can take it or not take it. If Margie takes it, I cannot now dictate, because you took the phone, this gift that I gave you, you need to treat it XYZ. This is how you have to do it. Once I give you something, I give it to you. Now, what if the person, Margie was asking, what if the person is a narcissist? Well, in your community, so we do have multiple personalities of people. So when you're dealing with someone who's a narcissist, in terms of communication, already you understand they're not going to hear anything from you that does not make them feel good, or that does not make them appear on top or better than. You got to understand that. And so if you're expecting a narcissist to give you feedback that makes you feel good, you're wasting your time. And that's why it's important that we get to know the people we're in relationship with. What is the capacity I can get from you? This is, what is this? 16 ounce? Is it? 16.9 ounce. So this is 16.9 bottle. Sometimes we are in relationships with people that are simply 16.9 ounce. And we are requiring a full gallon from them. Impossible. When we take time to get to know the people that we're in relationship with, the one important thing that, we get focused on how they make us feel, but we do not do our due diligence in identifying their capacities. And capacities is one of the most important things. So love requires choice and then commitment. The next thing that is extremely important is the person's capacity. The person can love you with everything they got. They can love you with their whole 16.9 ounce. When you are requiring a full gallon's worth of love, they cannot give it to you no matter how much they try, no matter how much they push, no matter how much they do. It is never going to be enough, because their capacity to love you is lower than your needed capacity to be loved. So how do you know what your capacity is? That's a whole conversation you want to sit down and have with a therapist. You want to sit down and have with a professional. You want to sit down and pray. You want to sit down and begin to, it's just a whole set of ways of identifying your own personal capacity, emotionally, spiritually, financially, So all the leads, the leads doing this self inventory, being able to sit down and do a self inventory to identify your own capacity. So then that way, a person that is a narcissist has very limited capacity for everything that does not concern them, for everything that does not make them look good. So if giving you a compliment, they're going to feel like you're going to think your head is too big, you're not getting that compliment. And you cannot alter these people. You cannot change their mind. You cannot make them do none of that. Change their mind and make them be better, make them this, make them that. Because love is choice. They can choose to be who they are. And if they choose to be a narcissist in our relationship, and that is not healthy for me, then I have a choice to walk away. So if they choose to remain the way that they are telling me, make a choice to go, because I'm not changing. Because change is hard work. And and people, the way they are, they didn't just show up that way. There's been years of them not properly developing in certain areas, not properly maturing in certain areas, not taking responsibility in some areas, that what you see is what's been being developed. What has been being developed for a long time. So do not assume they're just going to change. Another issue, women get into relationships. We think we're so awesome and so wonderful that this man is automatically going to change for you. No. People don't change for people. They change because they feel the need. They see there is a need for change. Because if they're changing for you, then this change is temporary. The moment they're no longer interested in you, they can resort back to old behaviors because they really only made the change to get to you. Because you know how some guys or some women too, when you first start a relationship with them, they're like Mr. Wonderful, Mrs. Wonderful, and they so perfect and they so wonderful. They are putting up a front. They are selling a version of themselves that they don't have the capacity to sustain. Give them enough time, they will show you their true selves. And that's why you go after character, not what the person is saying and not what the person is making you feel. You can get lost in the feelings, you can get lost in the words, but the character is clear. Integrity is a character. So if you're an integrous person and you start to talk about, cutting corners, doing this, doing that, you ain't as integrous as you're talking. So that's not a true character. That's something you're selling me. Okay. So let's get into, if you guys have questions too, please let me know. Let's get into the 5 love languages. So as we're talking about love language tonight, please share as you guys are coming on. We are streaming from 3 different platforms. We're streaming from YouTube, from my personal page, the Sandra Garcon, and also from the ministry's page, Sandra Garcon Dejaville. And so we're streaming from these 3, 2 Facebooks and a YouTube. So we have people that's kind of from all over in these. So the people that, if you hear me mention a name, you don't see that name on there because they're probably on a different platform, and they're streaming from a different platform. So in talking about, let me pull this up a little bit from mine. Okay, let's see if it pulled up. Okay, awesome. So it pulled up correctly. So some of you guys may be able to see this. So Dr. Chapman, if you Gary Chapman, I believe his name is, he wrote this book called The 5 Love Language, where he identified languages to love. Now, I speak Haitian Creole because I'm Haitian. And so if I started, I don't know who in here may be Haitian, um, but if I started to speak Haitian Creole and you guys did not speak Haitian Creole, you would not know what I'm talking about. I'd be like, wait a minute. First of all, wrong live. Sorry, I made a mistake. I got in the wrong live. And so, or if I started to speak Spanish or started to speak Russian or any other language that you are not familiar with, you would have a difficulty understanding me. So is love. Um, we all understand and receive love differently. So we all receive love differently. When you're getting into relationships with people, whether romantic, friendship, or in work relationships, business relationships, understand how the person receives love. Because when we're talking about love, we're not stuck on the ooey gooey feeling. We're talking about a commitment to the person and to what you and the person are doing together. So it's a commitment. So I'm not so frustrated because you do something that irritates me. And I'm not ready to pack my bags because you got on my nerves, because I've made a commitment. And so each person receive love in a different way. So in this 5 love languages, the first one is words of affirmation. There are people, when you get in relationships with them, they need you to tell them how wonderful they are. They need you to hear you affirm them, because you gotta remember, there are some people, based on of our upbringing, they did not receive affirmations. Their parents were not saying to them, you know what, I'm very proud of you. You're a good person. You're gonna do great. You're gonna just all these. You're smart. You're wonderful. You're intelligent. Some people did not receive those things. Some people, because of trauma and issues in their family life, did not have proper attachment, and they develop, attachment issues. So we're coming from so many different circumstances and so many different backgrounds and things that hurt us, things that gives us new shows us the world in different ways, that gives us new lenses. If I've come up in a background where I was experiencing a lot of trauma, maybe sexual trauma, the way I approach love is going to be completely different, because sexual trauma, especially at a young age, alters the person's perception of love. I was sexually abused when I was a kid. So I was raped when I was 6 years old, six-ish, going 7. Okay. And it happened again when I was 11, 12. And so, because of my history of sexual trauma at such an early age, where I had not developed understanding of those things yet, for a long time, I fell into very promiscuous behaviors, because those trauma made me believe that physical or sexual touch is how love is expressed. My parents loved me, but they didn't know how to express emotional love to me the way I needed it, having gone through the traumatic experiences that I went through. And so my search for love was very physical. When love is not about being physical at all. It's about a commitment and a decision to stick with a person, decision to walk with a person, decision to accept the person as is, and not trying to alter them to fit you, but it's to love them where they are and to choose to walk with them anyways. In order to do that, you're going to have to know them, and you're going to have to know you, because everybody cannot accept every behavior. you must know you. And so, words of affirmation, there are people who need you to tell them that they're beautiful, that they're smart. They need you to compliment the things that they do. If they made dinner, they want to know how wonderful dinner was. It wasn't, don't just eat and then go about your business. You need to tell them that, oh my goodness, this was a really great dinner. Oh my goodness, you cleaned up the house so nice. You did little things, they need to hear it. Because the more you're telling them these little things and you're complimenting these little things that they're doing, or the things that they're doing, not just little things, the things that they're doing, to them, they're hearing, wow, this person loves me. They're hearing the feeling of the emotion of love. And the emotions and the feelings of love is the byproduct of love, not love itself. But they're hearing it. And when I hear evidence of things, and coupled with you are being present and you are sitting with me and you are staying committed to me, it strengthens the ideal or the concept of love. And now, because I need to hear words of affirmation, and you are speaking words of affirmation to me, the glue that binds us together becomes stronger. And so, words of affirmation is important. If you are a person that needs to hear those things, it's not a matter of, oh, don't you have any self-esteem? You need somebody to tell you that you're beautiful. Can't you tell your own self you're beautiful? No, it's not that at all. But it is when I'm in relationship with people, hearing them express love to me this way communicates within me that this person cares for me. Okay? So it says about how to communicate: encourage, affirm, appreciate, empathize, listen actively, appreciating the person, affirming the person, encouraging the person, empathizing with the person. Empathizing doesn't mean because they crying, I gotta cry with them. Somebody could just be crying over their pet that died, and you don't care nothing about pets. You ain't gonna be crying with them. But understanding, okay, so this pet was of value to them. And because they've lost this thing of value, it hurts them. And so because I'm in relationship with you, I may not have even cared about your pet. However, I care that it mattered to you. I care that that loss mattered to you and affected you. And so because I love you, I'm going to empathize with you. So people can, ways you can do that, express words of affirmation. It was saying how you can send unexpected notes. Let me put this up a little bit. I'm having trouble reading this a little bit. Oh, it's at 140, 150. Let me see if that's better. Yeah, I wear glasses. I'm supposed to wear glasses. Sometimes I act like I'm too cool for glasses, but sometimes I recognize that, no, Sandra, you need to not pretend you're too cool. Wear your glasses so you can read better. All right, let's see. Okay, so yeah, hence why I should be wearing glasses. All right, physical touch. So the second one is physical touch. Physical touch, you're dealing with someone so physical touch is in two forms. So it is sexual, like sexual intercourse, and it is physical touch. Like I was saying, physical touch. Sometimes some people need you to hold their hands. When you're walking with them, they want to hold your hands, lock things, not this little, we're just gonna hold hands, but they just want to be all up in here. When they're sitting with you, they're constantly touching you, touching your ear, playing with your hair, your arm. Their hands is constantly on you. They just like to, in terms of love language, the thing that we should know, we typically give love in the way we want to receive it. So when you're in a relationship with someone who's constantly being very touchy, I mean, not touchy like in their emotions, but that they want to touch you all the time, hold your hands. They always want to be all up close to you. That's a sign that their love language, and you can have multiple love languages. Generally, one is stronger than the other, but you can have two strong love languages. Um, it's not like, well, I only love words of affirmation. I don't want you to touch me. Some people are that way too. But you can have someone who the words of affirmation increases their touch. So touch is physical, and it is also sexual. You find a lot sometimes with men that is a big that is a big love language for them, sex, because that is how they communicate their love. That is one of the ways that they communicate their love, and that is a very sex is a very important language men speak. And so that's a whole nother subject of language that we can go through at another time. But it is so important with for men, physical touch, specifically around sex. So here we talk the how to communicate nonverbal, use body language and touch to express love. So people, so that's someone that's hugging, kissing, holding hands, showing physical affection, making intimacy a thoughtful priority. So intimacy is the word here. Intimacy is not so intimacy into me, you see. So this person is their way of intimate communication, engagement is through physical touch or sexual touch, sometimes both. The next one is receiving gifts. There are people who don't care if you bring them a piece of gum. Wherever you know, some people when you go on vacation, they want you to bring them something back. Like they always want you to bring something. Like I don't care if it's a keychain, bring me something back. And they just like gifts, whether it's flowers, jewelry, chocolate, all these different types of gifts. Wherever when you're in relationships with these people, they're constantly buying you things. It's not whether it's a big thing a big purchase rather, or a small purchase. That doesn't always necessarily matter. What matters is the gift. So you see a lot of people that keeps everything that people had ever given them. There are people who keep cards, like they're big on cards. So every card anyone has ever given them, they have a shoebox of all those cards. Me, I'm not big on cards at all. I read them and they sound, wow, that's really sweet. Thank you very much. And then I don't really need them anymore because I already took in the thought you have for me in the card. And then I'm all set. I don't need to hang on to it. But there are people who need to hang on to it. There are people who, every gift that their ex has given them, they've kept all of them. Because those things are all expression. Those little trinkets are all expressions of the love the person has for them. And that is very, very important for people who are about gifts. That doesn't make the person a gold digger. That's not that concept at all. you know, a gold digger is not looking for you to just buy her flowers. She's looking for Louis Vuittons and red bottoms and all kinds of other, high end things. So receiving gifts is not a gold digger, although there might be some gold diggers that that is gifts are what they require, but that's not the same thing here. So this is about thoughtfulness, making the person feel that they are a priority, and because your gifts represent your thoughts for them. So you know how sometimes when the person buy you, the thought that counts, The thought that counts, people usually sometimes, well, he bought you a shoe, it's a thought that count. Okay, the purpose behind it though. So in the person whose love communication or love language is receiving gifts, they want to know why this particular gift. And when you say, you know what, I was walking down the street and I saw this dress, and I remember you were the first time we met, you had a dress that was similar to this, and it just reminded me of that. You give someone whose love language is receiving gifts a gift like that with that story, they're like, oh my God, you know, they're so excited, don't know what to do with themselves, and they're going to cherish this dress for the rest of their lives because of what it signifies for you about them. So whenever they look at their gifts, they look through all their gifts, they remember all the storyline that you gave them concerning that particular gift. And that is what they tangibly can connect to as an expression of your love. The next one is quality time. Another love language is quality time. Quality time is actually spending time with the person. Not we sitting there in front of the TV, you have your phone in your hand and I have my phone in my hand, and we just sitting there for like an hour, but both of us are on our phones, or you're watching a movie and I'm on the phone. No, that's not quality time for a person who wants quality time. Hi, Yolette, welcome. So Yolette said, when the X is gone, the souvenirs should be gone as well. If not, there'll be no space for new beginnings. All right. So I have two opinions on that. So there are people who have the same opinion with Yolette that once you're not in a relationship with the person, everything they have given you, all their gifts, toss them. And some people requires that because now they're now in a new relationship with you, they don't want you to have anything that ever belonged to your ex or your ex gave you. So the thing that and there's people that feel that way, and that's fine if that is what your feeling is. But I am of the mind that because so the person's ex, all of your ex, they help shape and form you to the person that you are right now. And so, because they help shape and form you to the person that you are right now, if I show up in your life, I'm showing up to a collection, to a version of you that has multiple parts, and your exes played a role in that. There, you can because I hang on to, I don't know. Let's say I had an ex that gave me this what is this calculator. Because I hang on to this calculator, that doesn't have to mean I'm hanging on to my ex. The calculator is useful, so I use the calculator. Now, if I am stuck, no, so if I'm a person that is about gifts and I'm looking at this calculator and my ex, I don't know if he created this calculator for me and the story he gave me just really touched my heart. And that is such an important trinket to me. And every time I think about this, see this calculator, use this calculator, I'm back into a mindset like, oh my goodness, he was so wonderful and awesome and whatever. The moment I'm in that mindset, then it's not good for me to keep it because it does hinder me from moving on to another relationship. But if this calculator is just a calculator to me, it don't matter who gave it to me. It's useful to me. And when I use it, when I touch it, when I look at it, I'm not going backwards. And so it is always us, whenever we're coming new into a person's life, we do not have the right to make them throw away parts of their lives that was there before we were. That is oftentimes an insecurity matter in us. That because I'm the woman now in your life, I don't want you to ever have anything to do with anything with any women in your past. The reality is there may have been some women in that person's past that had healthy relationship with that person, and they were able to sustain healthy relationships. This idea, if we're not together, we should have nothing to do with each other. That's generally when we don't know how to have healthy relationships. Not every relationship ends bad. There are people who work hard in ending healthy. There's sometimes you're in a relationship with someone and you care for the person, but you don't see a future with the person. I can stop our relationship, but we probably are great friends. We just aren't good at being in a relationship together. And so I know for myself, when I got married, I had there were two of my ex that were, for me, the relationship was healthy. I wasn't interested in having a future with them. They were my ex. I understood they were my ex. And I told my husband, here's a relationship that I had, and here was what the person did in my life and how that person helped me develop and grow. I'm letting you know about this person. There is nothing going on with me and this person. You are welcome to connect with this person, get to know them, and you guys could be good friends. I'm fine with that. But you can't make me throw the person away. The person came into my life. It's up to me to decide that this person no longer has place in my life. Now, I cannot say those things and this person interferes in my life, in my relationship. This person it must be very clear to this person and to me that right now, the new relationship that I'm in, that's the relationship I'm in. I'm not going to not do something for my husband or not spend time with my husband because I need to spend time with my friend. It don't work that way. And I'm not going to have a conversation with this person and then my husband come in, I'm like, oh, I'll talk to you later. I can talk with you in front of him. The phone is on speakers because it's a friendship, not any relationship. We're not going in the past. We're not doing any of that. And my husband has some relationships in his past that were healthy relationships that he communicates with them still. He's not hiding. Oftentimes I hear him communicating with them. I've had conversations with some of these women. That is both me and his maturity level and clarity level of where our past, who were they and where are they right now in our past, and what they can't do in our relationship. And it's clear. Every relationship doesn't do that. Every relationship cannot do that, because of where the two people, one or two people maybe are. But he had the same mentality as I did. I don't believe in throwing anyone out of my life because someone new is in my life. But I believe in making clear boundaries to everyone that has ever been in my life, the value and the position of the person that is currently in my life. Clear, no confusion. No confusion, no misunderstanding. There's not going to be anything that, well, you were smiling with him? What was that about? No confusion. We're very clear. Because once you're not very clear, there's a bunch of issues of trust that comes in, lack of trust. And so that's my personal belief and personal take and philosophy and how it functions for Sandra and for Zach. Every relationship is different, and I don't knock anybody if how Yolette was saying, if that is her comfort level in relationship. Sometimes there has been some trust issues, lack of trust issues in past relationships, and we're not playing those games no more. So here's what I am. So what you want to do in this case is When you are in the dating phases or you're getting to know the person, you want to let that person be clear where you are with that. This is how I feel concerning ex relationships. Be very clear, and be clear first. It's not because of insecurity, because if it's of insecurity, that's your problem. It shouldn't be put on the other person. But if it's just because whatever the reason you have, so as long as that an insecurity reason on your part, you have to let the person know upfront in the getting to know them phase, and be very clear with what I'm not doing. What I'm very clear on that. Because what we don't do sometimes, we're not clear with the person upfront. As we're already fully invested in the relationship, and the person is invested in the relationship, and an ex shows up, we get all bent out of order. Like, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, why not? There's so many things people don't talk about and are not clear about, because they're like, well, I'm not going to say anything, so that, I could keep getting to know this person, because this person seems like he could be a really good fit for me. So I'm just going to hold all the stuff I don't like and leave it on the corner behind there somewhere. Once we get more comfortable, then I'll tell them what I don't want happening. And that way it's going to be harder for the person to walk away. That is selfish. We got to communicate upfront and let the person know, when it comes to this area, that area, whatever the area is for you, I don't negotiate. It's clear. We're not negotiating. We're not, none of that. So the person can now say, if this is if the relationship that they've had, like for example, with one of my exes, one of my husband's ex, her family, when my husband's had a loved one pass, this person was there for him, was there, and their whole family was there, supporting, helping, making sure, the burial things, and my husband was not able to be present. The ex and their whole family was there, supporting, making sure things was in place. There's no relationship between them in terms of romance, but the whole family, the whole family has adopted my husband. So he not only has relationship with the ex in terms of there's a friendship there, but her whole entire family is connected to him and close with him. And they don't need the ex don't have to call my husband. He's having conversations with her dad, with her mom, with other family members, the grandmother. He's a son. Now, what would be the necessity for me to come and take away all of that? What if it don't work out with me and him? So he should get rid of all of the people that holds value, that are part of his development, because I showed up when there's no guarantee I'm staying. And there's no relationship that there's a guarantee you're staying. And there's some of you guys who may be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's my rule and that's what it is. That's fine. You just have to communicate that with the person. And then once you communicate that with the person, you got to give them that choice. And the person can say, well, you know what? I appreciate you communicating that with me. That is not the way I believe. And if that's how you believe, there's people that's in my life, I'm not going to lose them. And so while I would have liked to get to know you and maybe see what could be with us, I'm going to have to stop right here with you, because you're going to ask me to throw away people that has proven themselves in my life when I don't know if you and I are going to work. It's only fair, if that is your non-negotiable, that you communicate that up front and that you release the person to make a choice, because they don't have to choose to stay. They can choose to go too. And their choosing to go too is not saying that they don't want you, they rather them. It's just saying that um, if they can make clear boundaries, they may not see why I have to get rid of anybody. So I hope that was a little helpful. Um, any thoughts? What's your thoughts, Yolette, um, on that? What are some of your thoughts regarding that? What are you guys thinking? Um, well, let me know. So the last one, so quality time we were talking about, making sure you spend real time with the person. They don't want pretend time. They don't want you doing 12 things and then you talking to them in between 12 things. They want, let's sit down, give me eye contact, let's talk, let's connect, let's spend time, let's hang out. Quality time is not always you and 12 other friends. I want you and me time. And that's important. Acts of service. So acts of service is also another very important love language. And that love language is about people on empathy. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. So acts of service. This is the best example that I've had to help understand acts of service. So many years ago, I had this pastor who was sharing that his wife was the eldest daughter of a family of, I don't know, eight or nine kids, and so she was the one that was responsible to do everything. And so she was constantly doing, looking after for her siblings, cooking, cleaning, and helping mom with so many different things because she was the oldest and she was a girl. And so he said that he used to buy his wife, he loved, because he was a gift kind of person. So he's always buying her gifts, buying flowers, chocolates, and jewelry, this, that, and the other one. And she was always like, oh wow, that's really nice. Thank you. Very, but he wasn't the excitement he was expecting from her, he never received, and he used to feel some kind of way about it. But anyways, one day he came home and the kitchen was like dirty. Dishes were all over the place and things were just like all out of order. He's like, oh my God, why is this house looking like this? And so he decided to just clean up the kitchen and put everything back in place the way it ought to. She came home and nearly lost her mind in excitement. And he was like, what? And he said, in joke, he said that, he think that night is when their second child was conceived. Because for her, it was like, oh my God, I just won the lottery, because she's coming home. The kitchen was dirty. Fine, you bring flowers. That's nice. But I still got to go clean the kitchen. I still got to go cook dinner. I still got to go put everything in place. So you didn't really help me. You just bought me flowers. And the flowers in a dirty kitchen don't even have the same value. So acts of service is being able to help the person with something that they would have to do, but they would have to go and do for themselves. And you took that off their plate. Sometimes you'll find, in a relationship, the husband will go, oh my goodness, your car is really dirty, and gets up one Saturday morning and go get your car washed, put gas in the car. I was driving your car and your tire was looking a little crazy, so I switched the tires, for you. Got you new tires, and the brakes was crazy. I got it taken care of. This was out of order. I got that in order. Things that you have would be your responsibility to do, that person took it on for you. And so that is so important in relationships when we do those things. Okay. So hopefully that was very helpful in for you guys to understand about love language. It is so important. Everybody, how many of you guys have identified your love language? Which one of these For you, you would say, yep, that's definitely my love language. I need words of affirmation. I need someone telling me how wonderful I am, complimenting me, because those are important. Or whether it's physical touch. And remember, physical touch is in two forms: the person constantly physically touching you, or sexual interactions, receiving gifts, whether it's a piece of gum. The fact that you went to the store, you thought about them, and you got them juicy fruit, and juicy fruit was their favorite gum, that is um, it shows that you are thinking of the person. That's what gifts does. It shows that you are thinking and you are conscious and considerate of the person, to know, to think, to get them something to represent that feeling that you have for them. Quality time, being able to sit with the person and really giving time and energy, oh, to the person. And acts of service, taking away a responsibility that the person already has. Okay. So we've gone over time, but there was a question with Margie about empathy. So is there a specific question on empathy, and Marjorie, you had, or just in general, you wanted me to kind of talk a little bit about it? Okay, so I'll just talk a little bit generally with empathy. So, empathy is really about being able to emotionally understand the person, understand where they've coming from, understanding their feelings, seeing things from their point of view. It's an emotional expression. And so, with empathy, you're looking at this person, like we had given the example earlier, or general. Okay. So we had given the example earlier of a pet. So if you have a friendship, relationship, or romance, or whatever it is, the person say you have a pet, like a pet cat or something like that, and their pet cat dies, and they're just like just like dying over this cat. You who is not a cat person or an animal person, you you just, oh, you just, what's going on with you? It's just a cat, you know. um Empathy says, listen, no, I don't care for cats. I'm not even an animal person, but because I'm in a relationship with you, whatever this pet that you lost, or this thing that you lost, or this particular pain that you're feeling or experiencing, because of what it's doing to you, empathy says, I need to now understand this thing that is hurting you. I need to understand this thing that is affecting you. And why is it affecting you the way that it's affecting you? So empathy kind of takes on detective mode. And they're not just looking for facts, but they're looking for understanding of why does this thing affect you? Because if I'm in a relationship with you and you are experiencing hurt or pain or some kind of emotion, adverse emotions, I cannot be in a real relationship with you and don't care. I need to be conscious that, wait a minute, okay, Margie's, wow, okay, this thing is really affecting Margie. What's going on, Margie? Talk to me. What's happening? Why does this particular thing make you feel this way? What's going on? So it is this investigative of understanding Margie's feelings and emotions concerning the thing. And so it's not about how I feel about the thing. It's about Margie and whatever her feelings may be. Whether I think it makes sense or logic is not the point. The point is something is hurting someone that I care about, and I'm responsible to do something about it. And the thing that I'm responsible to do is to let the person know that I'm present with them. Margie, I've never had a cat. I don't know, and I really don't know about cats. I don't even really like cats, but I understand that you and I are friends, and this, you lost your cat, and this matters to you, and you're hurting right now. As your friend, I'm here. Do you know that being here and being present is one of the most incredible things that we can give to someone else? By just our presence, because it is innate in us as human beings to not want to go through anything by ourselves. We don't want to go through nothing by ourselves. It's important to us. When we have someone that's walking with us, that is going through a particular difficulty or challenge with us, we get through it faster. We don't get stuck in the emotions of what happened to us because we know we're not by ourselves. Someone understands, someone is walking with you, someone is present. Being present is the most incredible gift we can give. And so I encourage you guys to take a picture of this love language thing. If this is the first time you guys have heard of love language, you can even go on. Let me see if I could put the, where is it? Okay. Oh, yeah, the PDF. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste this on here for you guys. So there is a quiz by Dr. Chapman on the love language. So I put that in the, let me see. How do I put it on here, though? Let me see if I could, let me open up another Facebook because I can't, this other one is on my phone. So I can put it that you guys can, okay, paste it here for you guys. Okay. Yep, so it should be on all of the streaming, all of our streaming things. So, love languages, the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, physical touch and sex, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service. I put also on here the love language test is a PDF. You can click on it, download it, print it, and take it yourself and take it with your friends and family. We didn't talk about children, but as parents, for those of you guys who are parents here, it is so important that we understand our children's love language, how they receive love and how they give love. Because oftentimes we as parents, we're so stuck on discipline and providing for our kids that we don't know how to communicate in ways they understand, how to express love in ways they understand. Yes, putting a roof over their head, putting food on the table is an act of love, but to a kid who don't even know that concept, it gets lost in translation. And so, my son, he just know I'm supposed to feed him. He just know we live in a house. We need a roof over our head. So me trying to explain to him that is love. I should explain to him that is love, but my son loves words of affirmation. He really loves you to tell him he's wonderful. When you say you did a great job, Noah. He's like, yeah, thank you. And he's just like all bright up and he wants to do more. Words of affirmation is his thing. And so I got to, as his mom, I have to understand that and speak more of those things to him to affirm him. So he's not confused about my love. Because discipline is also a form of love. And so I need to make sure I invest enough of the love he understands. So when I discipline him, he doesn't confuse. He don't have a confusion with that. He don't think that I no longer love him because he got disciplined. But the more I communicate in his language, the more he understands. And he's not going to question. He won't like discipline, but he's not going to all of a sudden feel because of discipline he's not loved. Okay? I went over again. I apologize. Thank you guys for those who came on and with me tonight. I hope you have an excellent evening and wonderful week. I look forward to talking again with you guys and we chatting again. Thank you, Margie, and some of you guys for the questions, and Yolette for the questions that you had and the comments that you've had. I hope something I shared with you tonight was encouraging, helpful, and insightful, and that you can apply that in your life and in your relationships. And definitely go through the quiz, find out what your love language is. You can ask various questions to help you identify your love language. And once you identify your love language, begin first and foremost to love yourself that way. If your love language is words of affirmation, you are the first person that is responsible to begin to affirm yourself and encourage yourself and give yourself compliments. Because if you cannot give it to yourself, then you don't have any right to expect anyone to do it for you. All right. God bless you guys.